All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. We will call to order the regular Heath City Council Meeting, February 4th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. If you'd all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please.
Our dearest Father in heaven, we are so grateful to gather as community leaders to ponder and deliberate the things that will serve our community best. Father, we ask for thy Spirit to be with us this evening as we contemplate those decisions that will affect the lives, the livelihood, the safety of those whom we represent. Father, we ask for thy special guidance and spirit upon so many who are troubled in our nation and in our communities. And we ask that those who serve to protect us and uphold the rule of law will have thy guidance and thy power and help to do just that, to keep us safe and enjoy this the beautiful, blessed place in which we are proud to live. And we do say these things, Father, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. God bless Texas.
Outstanding. Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll move into agenda item number 2. This is our public comment. Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Mayor, we have, he may be speaking on the agenda item, but Bobby Gladue here to speak on the water vest item, life jacket item.
You're welcome to speak in public comment, or you can wait during this agenda item.
What do you prefer?
It's up to you.
Can we go now?
That sounds great. Thank you. Just take the lectern. Bobby, if you'd state your name and your address, please.
Bobby Gladue.
On the record.
6959 FM 1565, Royce, Texas 75189. I'd like to pass these pictures around. Yes, sir. So I'm here to speak about the life jacket loaner stations we want to put in your dear city. I appreciate you all allowing me to speak. We did a couple in Rockwall. There was a need. We're a lakeside community, and so one of the judges approached me because I'm on a search and recovery dive team, and we know how the water's black, and it was a big need. There was a lot of drowning. So they asked us to do that. We partnered with Cook's Children's Hospital, the YMCA, also Artisan Masonry and Granite, my company, and we built these stations. One's at the harbor and one's at the 66 boat ramp. There's 6 different sizes. What's really cool about, and they're beautiful structures, and you're going to see that on the pictures there. The cool thing about it is right the next day after we built them, kids were putting them back. So they were using them right away. Like I said, there's 6 different sizes. You know it's going to save a life. And being a part of a community, a lakeside community, I think it's something we should have. So the cool part about this, Cook's Children's does 28 of these stations already in Texas. There's 62 areas that they serve put life jackets on for the communities around here too. I feel like we need it because, you know, I don't know if you all knew that. I was surprised when I heard the statistics on this, but kids 1 to 4, the number one reason for death between the ages of 1 and 4 is drowning. I didn't know that. So it's something that I really think is something that's important. It's a responsibility I feel like we should do. We have the ability to do it without costing the city money. So I want to present that to you guys, and hopefully you guys vote on it tonight. We know they save lives. I want to give you an example of also there was a friend of mine, her family was on a boat in Hubbard, and they're active boaters, and they hit a stump, and all the grandkids flew out of the boat. Fortunately, they all had life jackets on, because I'm telling you, when I dove in there for training, I went to the bottom of the lake, and I went like this, and it was a sunny day, no clouds, and I could not see my hand in front of my face. So it's black water. So a kid could be 4 foot on the water and you wouldn't see him. So that's why it's super important to have this. I was going to bring out also that people before were thinking about theft and leaving them around everywhere. it doesn't happen. So cooks will replace 50 to 30% every year of any life jackets that get damaged or stolen. The YMCA will take them down in the fall and put them back in the spring. So there's not an eyesore. Like I said, as you see the pictures, they're beautiful structures, very sturdy. The only thing the city's got to do is weed eat around the two posts, basically. So I really believe this is something that we need to do. Like I said, it's been very successful. The other two places we installed it close by here. I'm hoping that this is something that you guys feel to be important for your city. I know we can start with this first one, and then later on, maybe we can put another one in, but see how it works. But hopefully you guys vote yes and allow us to do this for you. All right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Alexander?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. I didn't prepare any remarks for this evening, but I do feel compelled just to mention that I want to express my appreciation to our public for their patience with us as we work through the winter weather that we had, with council for moving the meeting to tonight from last week. And then also just kudos to our public safety staff, public works staff, public relations staff for all the hard work they did during that winter weather, and the rest of our staff for staying focused through that time frame as we work through issues that we were faced with. And so that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Very well. Now that we've had city manager comments, council, the floor is open, and agenda item number 3 for any comments that you may have. No comments at this time? Very well. I would like to echo that. Thank you to DPS. I know that that's something that every single one of these council members say how proud to me all the time they are of our DPS officers and led by great leaders. And we very much appreciate you guys. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family that had a house fire. That was a complete loss. And so we want to continue to pray for them. But thank you to you, Chief Siri, and your captains for your leadership during that fire. And then also thank you to our neighboring cities and for our interlocal relationships because there were literally multiple cities on site working that fire and there was no loss of life, and that's the key to all of this. So thank you guys. And then also just a big thanks to our public works and to our communications, Ms. Suzanne and Mr. Creed, under your leadership. The amount of communication that came out of your departments was astronomical in comparison to times past. And I will tell you, that was a collaborative effort under the leadership of Steve. Thank you. But from videos coming out of DPS to help people understand what the roads even look like every day, all the way down to multiple communications coming out of communications, and the collaboration between DPS and Public Works. I don't know what it was like before I took office, but I can tell you that it was highly coordinated. And I'm very proud of you guys, very proud of this council for budgeting appropriately to give us the additional staff that we utilized during this ice storm to make sure that we were sanding areas that we've never sanded before. And part of the communication strategy, Steve and I have worked with DPS and Public Works on what our emergency management strategy is. We've spent countless hours going through that. And I'm just very, very proud of the work, seeing it come into action. So, you know, the one thing that I think council will probably look at in the next budget cycle is, you know, let's look for a way to get ice off the road. Okay. Okay. But in general, it was a great job. So job well done, and I'm very proud of the work that you guys did. And then also, too, there was a fire in a vehicle. A fire in a vehicle to where it was, again, another total loss, but there was no loss of life. So thank you, DPS. Those were two big challenges. There were some ancillary challenges. There was secondary fires, and you guys did containment as I'm to understand. And so, you know, my thoughts and prayers are with all the families because even though no one was harmed, losing their valuable assets is always a harm. So, so again, we're very thankful that we came out of that, but there were issues that did happen during that ice storm that not everybody is aware of. Very well. If there are no other comments from the council, we will move into agenda item number 4. This is our consent agenda. So 4.A, action regarding the minutes of January 13th, 2026, regular meeting. 4.b, action regarding the purchase of 2 Chevrolet Tahoes for the Department of Public Safety from Lake Country Chevrolet through a cooperative purchasing agreement with Buy Board. I believe the council's had time to review these items, so at this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I'll motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Thorogood.
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilman Myers. If there's no discussion, the motion moves. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Moving into agenda item number 5. These are items for individual consideration. I do know that our Chief Siri, I've asked him to be here tonight on his program day or evening off. So I'm going to have him actually come up here so that way we can expedite his agenda item. So Mr. Ayers, thank you for your patience. So we're going to move into 5.e. This is discussion and update on the construction of DPS stations 30 and 31. So Chief Siri can leave as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Siri.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight for a discussion, I have exciting updates for capital project DPS Station 30 and 31. I have representatives from AGCM. They're zooming in tonight. They weren't able to make it due to some prior obligations to go through this slide with you. And like I said, we have some exciting information that we'll share, which includes the groundbreaking ceremonies for each station that's coming up that you'll receive an invite for tomorrow. These buildings, we're extremely excited about them, and it's just going to be a monumental day for our community. And we're appreciative of our community and our council members, a testament to your dedication to improving public safety within our community. So we thank you for that. With that, I'll turn it over to Bob with AGCM.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council, Chief Siri. This evening, we're sharing our status report for stations 30 and 31. On the slide we're looking at here, these are renderings of the front views of the buildings. On the right is Station 30, and on the left is Station 31. These are the current designs. This report provides a general overview of all the project's progress. One thing to note here is noted down below related to the tentative completion dates. Just for your information, the construction durations from start of construction to substantial completion is a little different. Station 30 is larger, so it's 420 days, while Station 31 will be 365 days.
And Bob, let me just cut in here for a second, Mayor and Council, just so you're aware, the contractor is planning for it to be 31 to be done by November of 26 and 30 done by January, February of 27. Just those days are what's actual contractual days within the contract, but he's feels like he's going to be complete way ahead of that. I just want to be clear on that.
He just didn't want you to say that tonight.
Yeah.
I heard a yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Chief. As we talked about last time, this is something we'll do through the project. It's our project health indicator. As we saw last time, budget, schedule, and quality are remaining in the good category. This is our schedule from the pre-construction design that was in July of 25. We have revised that schedule. And for some of the reasons for that are noted down at the bottom. The geotechnical report was not received until October. If that affects the civil design work for the projects. We had interior changes that were made to both buildings up through November, plan changes, just improvements to the project. Another notable improvement for the project, this is on Station 30. We have structural engineering timelines have increased, but to incorporate mass timber in the building, that's going to elevate the building's aesthetic and atmosphere as noted there. The this is based. This is our budget update, and this is based upon preliminary pricing. Grossman Design Build is confident that the final GMP budget will not exceed 15 million. The information that is also included on this slide is again back to the July 2nd conceptual design. And the thing to note there is at that time, the total budget for both projects was 14,905,000. And that includes, as noted there, contingency amounts. For both projects at that time, it was 2,030,000. So these projects are within the 15 million with the good contingency allowances included.
Yes, Bob, let me just one more time, just so I can make council clear. We formally don't have the paper of the GMP right now. We're expecting that pretty quickly. You'll see on the next slide. But we do have a verbal commitment that the GMP will not exceed 15 million for the two buildings from the contractor. And the reason why right now is he's fairly confident, but he's still trying to get a full plan set for both buildings to approve through the permitting office. And he's feeling like that it's going to be under 15 million for two projects. So he's doing what he can to get with all of his subs, but the plans need to be approved before he can get the commitment from those subcontractors. Just one other thing to note on this for both properties on Station 30. This is for the building to build it, but there's infrastructure concerns with that property right now, so we're exploring on getting electricity to that building as well as gas. And then on Station 30, just so y'all are aware, it's going to be ran on Station 31 will be ran on a septic system out there, and that's due to the availability of sewer. It's quite a ways away from that facility, and we'd also have to go under a 24-inch high-pressure gas line from Atmos. So we have some concerns with that, and we may explore that later on down the road, but we're still going to get some costs to do that, see what it'll be.
And that's because Public Works building is on sewer.
Yes.
But it's coming in from the backside of whatever the
Heath
roundabout
Gauffignon.
is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's Heath Gauffignon off Governors.
Yes, sir.
Very good. To be expected.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And what the chief's pointing out here is that the guaranteed maximum price and the estimates that we're seeing today don't include the cost if we were to try to extend basically a 900-foot sewer line underneath the gas. It's going to be quite a bit of money to do that. This includes the cost associated with a septic system.
And for this secondary building, I don't know that that's necessary.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, thank you. This is our updated schedule. There on the right, summarized station for Station 30. The civil plans were submitted to the city January 23rd, and the remaining timeframe, architecture plans are going to go in February 13th, and we will be submitting the GMP March 16th for your review and final approval. And the groundbreaking for Station 30 will be February 26th at 1 p.m. Station 31 civil plans were submitted January 14th. Architectural plans were submitted January 23rd. We have received comments back on civil, waiting for comments on architectural to come back. And then the GMP will be submitted February 20th for your review and final approval. And the groundbreaking for Station 31 is scheduled for March 26th.
Very well.
And just so you know, Mayor and Council, again, the groundbreaking ceremonies, but they're going to be starting construction on March 2nd, but they'll be doing dirt work before we go out there.
Okay.
And this just gives you an idea. This was into January. The design is a component, of course, of the projects that Grossman is providing. So for Station 30, at early January, they were about 72% complete with the design. And Station 31, they were 86% complete. So They're getting close to having that wrapped up. So the design phase will be complete here shortly. But that shows you what has been billed and paid to date on that slide.
Very well. All right.
And any questions?
The only question that I have would be, on these GMP dates going to the council, do we see any potential lag to slow that process down? Obviously, it's going to be contingent on Grossman getting further along.
Yes, sir. I don't anticipate any further lag. I've explained to him the importance of getting us that very quickly, and he is committed to that. And like I say, we did have some geotechnical issue from the plans getting back, and then he's maintaining that he's trying to save money, and he believes it will come in under 15 million.
Okay. So the additional time too is getting sub-commitments, therefore making it highly competitive, therefore increasing the opportunity to make sure that the GMP is as low as possible.
Yes, sir.
Very well. Okay. Council, any questions for staff?
Okay.
Councilman
Mr. Mayor.
Dodson?
On the web so the additional.
Okay, tell us. Listen, man, AI is everywhere.
It's listening.
Councilman Dodson?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, your comments were to the external review of this documentation that gets submitted in. Our timelines for this, just based on the Gantt and your schedule, are really, really tight, right? Do we have a commitment internally on the civil review and on the ARB review to meet those timelines so that we can stay adherent to the schedule that you had posted?
Yes, sir. I do not believe it'll go to ARB. It's a project that's just approved by the council, so it'll just be for y'all for your approval.
Gotcha.
And then as far as the civils, I've been working with the permitting office as they turn them in, and we were able to get comments back on the first set of civils in about 5 days.
Great.
So
So you're
working
right and heard on
streamline.
that piece, and then it's up to council to make sure that we complete our process on the architectural review when it comes in.
Yes, sir. And if I can send you some more pictures of the building as well, if you'd like to have those for review.
Just in due course, nothing special,
Yes,
just
sir.
in due course.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks, chief.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Any other questions, council? Okay, if there are no further questions,
Thank you, Mayor and
Chief.
Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get to that date and let's make sure that we don't have any other pushes. And then also too, great job on the timber. I do think it's gonna look very nice in the interior, so smart move. All right, I'm also gonna move around because we do have these special guests that wanna talk about loaner life jackets. So we're gonna move that around. We're just gonna keep moving stuff around tonight. Let's call this musical agenda chair. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump into 5.d. This is discussion and action regarding a loaner life jacket station to be located at Terry Park. Ms. Gordon.
Alrighty, good evening, Mayor and Council. So, Mr. Gladue did a great job teeing this item up for me. I really don't have too much to add. No, I do. But we have a really great opportunity to provide a true public safety and recreation amenity at one of our parks. And in doing so, it would be a partnership with Cook Children's for a loaner life jacket station at Terry Park. And so as you can see on the map, Cook Children's has partnerships with multiple entities across Texas and in particular across North Texas with multiple stations actually right here in our back door at Lake Ray Hubbard, as well as city agreements with the city of Rockwall. The reasoning behind this is really, as Mr. Gladue stated, to really prevent something that can be preventable, which would be drowning instances in our lake here. So with this agreement, if we were to enter into this agreement, Cook Children's would provide us with the kit and materials to construct the loaner life jacket station. We've had Mr. Gladue and his team have offered to help assemble those, as well as our DPS and then our Parks and Recreation staff as well. So we would work to construct that station, and it would also be manned with life jackets. And so we would be provided with life jackets, and those life jackets would then be inspected on a weekly basis by our staff here that get training from Cook Children's on what to look like as far as life jackets, making sure that they're not damaged and that they're ready to be used. Again, there's no cost to the city to participate in this program. It's really just maintenance of the station and making sure that those life jackets are inspected weekly by us. In doing so, we would assume all liability for the station and the life jackets, but we do have protection and immunity in case there was anything that were to happen during that time. So here is an image of our Terry Park and then what the Loner Life Jacket Station, once constructed, would look like. I've put a star on the map as a preliminary location where the station could be placed closest to the boat ramp, but we are open to other suggestions on where to place this within the park itself. So at this time, we are recommending the ability to enter into the contract with Cook Children's to procure this lifeguard station and then continually operate that in the years to come. And I'd be happy to answer any questions for you at this time.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Gordon. At this time, council, do you have any questions for staff? Councilman Dodson.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Who is going to conduct this weekly inspection on staff?
So it would be our Parks and Recreation Manager.
Great. And obviously with our new park opening up and the duties that will be responsible for that, do we believe that this person or these people will have the bandwidth to do this as well?
100%. I don't believe these weekly inspections will take much time out of normal duties. We're already out there on a routine basis.
Right.
So I don't believe that would be an issue.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Okay, very good.
Hey,
Councilwoman
Chelsea.
Horn.
Yeah, so, awesome program. I think this truly does save lives of children, especially near water. I think this is very important. 2 questions. One is, you mentioned liability. My only concern is what sort, you said we are covered. What do you mean by that?
Yes, so I'm going to defer to our Jen, our city attorney, but Marie has viewed these agreements, and Jen can speak to that.
So we are protected under the recreational use statute, which we think would cover this situation regarding, any kind of problematic use of the life jackets. But what we're really talking about is, the off chance that we have a damaged or defective life jacket and somebody making a claim about that. But we think we're protected under the recreational use statute.
Awesome, thank you. And then the only other question I have, sir, when you spoke, you mentioned the YMCA having some involvement here, but I didn't see that in our packet. Can you clarify what the YMCA's involvement is?
Right. So as far as I know right now, just with the information that was presented to me, I believe the YMCA has assisted with other life jacket stations in the area. We can certainly reach out to them and talk to them, but I believe they are the ones that come and pick up the life jackets, like in the winter time, and house those. We can reach out, see if they would be able to house ours, but we can do that internally as well.
I just, my only concern would be, let's make sure that whoever is doing whatever needs to be done in regards to this, that we're not expecting some other entity to do it. And just make it clear that, our people are doing what they need to do, so there's no issues.
Yes, absolutely. And so that's how we have it structured right now, where we'll do the weekly inspections. We'll have an inspection log as well that will keep records on when they were inspected. If any were damaged, we'll take those down and identify those as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Absolutely.
Councilman Dodson.
As a follow-on to Councilwoman Horn's question for legal counsel, just a point of clarity here. You said twice that you think that we're covered, and I'm just a little nervous on the word think versus we are covered, and we have been, we have reviewed that, and we have a definitive statement there versus think. I just wondered what your comments were on that.
That's lawyer talk there's not a case that specifically deals with life jackets, and so we believe that we are, but obviously, there's not case law on that specific issue.
Okay. All right, I would just have us think for a moment about our liability insurance and a rider and or what's covered under that and what other people utilize to be covered for that, just to make sure, because, listen, in a wrongful death situation, and counselor better than anyone, they are going to go right down the line and try to go the deep pocket theory, and they're going to view nobody with deeper pockets than a city. So that ultimate burden of responsibility is going to fall back to us.
It's a great point, Mayor Pro Tem. We'll before we sign off on any agreement, we will touch base with Texas Municipal League, where we have our insurance, and run this past them as well, and just make sure there aren't any issues with that.
Thank you, Steve, very much.
I'll report the results of that back to the council.
Yeah, thanks.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, our guest is requesting to speak again.
Yeah, hold on one sec. Are there any other questions for staff?
No.
No other questions? Also, Mr. Alexander, I would encourage you, if we do go down this path, that you do look at the aesthetics of the material and the placement to be most appropriate. I do think that it's a very unique opportunity, but at the same time, we want to consider aesthetics. At this time, if we could have Mr. Gladue, if you want to take the lectern.
Thanks, Justin.
I just wanted to speak to a couple of concerns. So first of all, if you zoom in on the picture, it's in English, how to don on the life jacket properly. And then on the back side, it's in Spanish, so they can have it in Spanish also. These are going to be replaced and visually inspected every year from the YMCA. Harold is the director over there. I believe one of your city councilmen is on the board too. Mitch is on there too. So these are high quality. They're replaced yearly if they need to be. Cooks has said they would replace at least 50%. And the liability should be very minimal. If you're telling them how to put it on and they wear it properly, I think there's more liability in not having it in a lakeside community. So, like I said, I hope legally, Cooks has been doing this a while, and if you look at the structure, they're built very safe. I also, when we build them, we do a lot of extra safety precautions on them so that nobody can poke themselves or scratch themselves on the unit itself. So anyway, I think it's something that you guys will really be proud of having, and I guarantee it will save a life in your community. All right, that's all I got.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right, very well. At this time, council, what questions and discussion do you have amongst ourselves? Councilwoman Horn?
I totally agree. I think this is important to have in our community, but I also think we have a duty to make sure that we're protecting the city. So I am very much conditionally in favor of this, if we can just get some clarifications. I also want the clarification of, is the YMCA inspecting? I just would like that clarification, but I'm.
Yeah, I believe what I've heard tonight, and Mr. Alexander, you can correct me, or Ms. Gordon, what I've heard tonight is that we're going to inspect them weekly, but there is an annual inspection by YMCA as they look to also replace them. So it's an annual, hey, this one's in ill repair or whatever, but we'll be going above and beyond and doing it weekly, as we do actually go out to Terry Park and do weekly maintenance, trash porter service. We do things in the restrooms, so it's just another item to be checking while they're there, correct?
Yes.
Very well.
That's right, Mr. Mayor. We will make sure these are checked on a weekly basis and inspected by our staff so that we can prevent any issues coming from a vest that's been out in the sun too long, or straps that aren't, secure and that sort of thing. We will make sure that equipment is in good shape. Yes.
So it sounds like we'll be doing the most frequent cadence, but it is a two-party system for replacing the necessary items. Good?
Good.
Any other thoughts or questions?
Just, Mr. Mayor, I think that given in light of the question with regards to liability, that we table this vote until we understand that correctly to vote, because elsewise we would have to then be voting conditionally based on the successful assessment of the liability question.
Okay. I think the recommendation by staff is that the city manager would be able to execute, so.
Gotcha.
Does that cover the concern that you have?
Yes, Mayor, it does.
I mirror that. I mean, I would echo the same sentiment, the same concerns from the dais, but to that point, I
Yeah.
would expect Mr. Alexander, you'd be able to be highly proficient in working with the attorneys and figuring out the most minimal risk.
And again, Mr. Mayor, we will report back to council via email to you, correspondence to you, what our findings are before we enter into any kind of agreement.
Okay, very well. We just won't respond collaboratively.
Well,
For the
you
record,
can't-
that's
you
for
can
you at
respond-
home.
You can, individually, you can
That's
respond to me
correct,
directly.
but we won't hit reply all. Very
That's
well.
right.
All right, Councilman Dodson?
No other questions?
No other? Okay, very well. At this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the participation in the Loaner Life Jacket Station Program and authorization for the city manager to execute the necessary agreements with review by the city attorney.
Very well. We have a motion as stated by Councilwoman Thorogood. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a second by Councilman Dodson. I'm sorry, Mr. Myers.
You gotta be quick around here.
If there are no other questions or concerns to deliberate on, then the motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Gladiator. Thank you for your leadership, Rockwall, and the things that you're doing to better this county.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Well done.
Okay, at this time, we will play musical agenda chair, and we will go back up to 5.A. Discussion and action on review and approval of the plan of finance in resolution number 260204A, directing and authorizing publication of notice of intention to issue certificates of obligation series 2026. Mr. Ayers.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This particular agenda item is for the consideration of the notice of intent to start the process of issuing the certificates of obligation for Series 2026, the Water Bridge Plan Initiative. Just a recap of those projects, we had the design and construction of the elevated storage tank, the ground storage tank design, and the ground storage tank shared with the city of Rockwall, the restrictive valve as part of the agreement, the updated water agreement between the city of Heath and city of Rockwall, water well number 1, a reimbursement of $1 million of the total amount of that project, and wells 2 through 4 for a total amount of $40.5 million for this certificate of obligation. Just a recap of the Finance Board's recommendations concluding the plan of finance. One of those items is the debt structure and call feature. Just starting out, typically those call features are at 9 years, but they were looking at possibly having a call feature set up even sooner. That's the ability to refund or refinance that debt earlier. The project phasing consideration, if possible, if it doesn't interfere with the Water Bridge Plan Initiative, if any of these projects could be pushed out further, possibly they want that to be looked at in tandem with the rate impact monitoring, just seeing if we could lower the future increases in rates. And now I'll turn it over to Jim Sabonis with Hilltop Securities to go over the plan of finance.
Thank you, Mr. Ayers. Good to see you, Mr. Sabonis.
Mayor, council members, citizens of Heath, it's good to be here. My name is Jim Sabonis. I'm a managing director with Hilltop Securities. I've been fortunate to represent the city for many years. It's always a pleasure to come and visit you, especially on a beautiful night like tonight. This plan is something that we've worked on initiated maybe a year ago, and the last 6 months have been very serious. This fall, we presented a couple times to the Finance Committee. They've honed the plan to where we are presenting tonight. So what we have here is, and this is a good summary, Your water bridge plan requires funding of $40.5 million of capital improvement plan. The debt obligation tool we'll use is the Texas Certificates Obligation. What the Certificates Obligation is, they call it the double barrel pledge. It allows the city to pledge its ad valorem tax, and your ad valorem tax rating is AA+, allowing us to issue at a very low cost. But we also pledge our net revenues, our utility system. This is a utility bond. You've got a healthy utility system, and the plan is to budget and pay the debt service with this from the net revenues of that system. This will be tax exempt, and the structure you use, and we'll actually demonstrate this later in a slide, is a wraparound. Currently, you have about 11 years left on your debt service in your water and utility system, and so we're proposing a 20-year structure, and you'll see that we spent a lot of time analyzing different structures with the city manager, the finance director, and the finance committee. And 20 years was chosen because it has minimized the impact, but at the same time, we don't need to go longer. It just costs us more money. To give you a feel, we went from 20 years to 25 years. We only reduced the annual payment by $100,000 up front, but we ended up paying about $7 million more over time. Right now, we're talking about a 10-year call, and I call that the equilibrium call. We sell 20-year bonds, and when we price these bonds, investors at the 10-year basis today, they'll give us the most efficient pricing. What I mean by that is if we go longer and we say the investors can have an 11 or longer year call, they're not going to price it cheaper. They're going to price it to a 10-year call. But if we want to be able to call those bonds away to refund them earlier, it costs us. And I'm going to show you a chart. I've spent a lot of time. You have some very sophisticated investor finance committee members with investing backgrounds, and we spent a lot of time talking about it. And I think there's not a decision yet to be made, but there is some discussion that would they want to actually do a shorter call. Right now, you're AA+ rated. You've been through this process. The city's in a stronger financial condition than it's ever been, and I expect that we'd have a strong confirmation of that AA+ rating. And so the numbers I'm going to show you today are based on market conditions as of January 20th. I will tell you that when I looked at this presentation, even as of today, I looked at the market conditions. Actually, the bond buyer indexes are exactly the same. Now, the basis points different from today than from January 20th. So those numbers would be good for today. I'll go through a detailed schedule of events, but ultimately, this would actually lead to pricing on the morning of March 24th. We're expecting a competitive sale right now. Last week, over the last 2 weeks, we've had 4 competitive sales, and a number of really high credit qualities entities like you, standard, 20-year geo-type bond issues. And amazingly, we had more bids in the last 4 weeks than we had the entire 2025. We've had like 8 to 12 bids from a wide range of investors. A lot of liquidity in the market. Since the beginning of the year, we've seen positive inflows of over $2 billion in mutual funds that invest in tax-exempt securities. We've seen the interest rates come down between 15 and 19 basis points, so it's been a really positive momentum in the marketplace, and we think the trajectory is still there. In the state of Texas, if you approve something, once it's actually executed, your bond counsel has to present it to the Attorney General of Texas. He actually has to review all the proceedings, the notice of intent, the publications, and he would approve that to make sure that we legally issue based on what our statute requires. And so it takes minimum 15 working days, so we expect to close on April 15th. This is actually the numbers as of the 20th of January, which would match what would be today. And uniquely, right now, bonds are being priced at a premium. And when we set this up for a competitive sale, we set the bid specs up that allow bond investors to bid either a premium or a discount on bonds. Whatever, the goal is to get you the lowest principal interest based on the proposed debt structure we're looking for, most efficient transaction. And right now, investors are bidding a premium. Uniquely, we anticipate if we sold this, you would sold $37,865,000, and investor would have paid us a premium of slightly over $3 million, so we would deposit $41,017,000 into our account, pay cost of issuance, my fee, bond counsel fee, attorney general's review fee, bond rating fee, administrative fees to actually register with SEC. We allow a underwriter's discount, a natural process for the underwriters that bid on this, and you'd receive your $40,500,000. I will say you're going to see your notice of intent has a higher number because in some times, depending on the market conditions, these will be bid at a true par plus discount. So the notice may be somewhere around 42 million, which really is the total source of funds plus allowing for a discount bid in that process. But ultimately, this is where I think we'll be in this situation. Right now, based on a 20-year in our wraparound structure, we have an all-in true interest cost, which includes the interest cost plus the cost of issuance at a 4.32%. Total principal interest is about 64.8 million. On average annual, it's a 33.2 million, but you're going to see how the structure is set up where we minimize the impact. While the average would be 3.2 million, the actual impact is about 2.2 million by issuing this debt. You'll see that right now you've got $1.8 million payment. It jumps to just over 4 million. If you've got a handout, you may be able to read this better, but you'll see that the second column from the left shows your annual principal and interest that you have on your outstanding bonds. And you can see what we're doing here is we're trying to we try to find a point where we could do no shorter, no longer than we could level out your debt service. And in 20 years, magical equilibrium came where we ended up with the 4 million, which allowed us to defer some principal to minimize the impact to your ratepayers and take advantage of the short amortization you have outstanding. So when I mentioned wraparound, this is the structure that we're using right now when we have this plan. The schedule of events indicates, we've had, you've previously passed a reimbursement resolution allowing you to spend funds recognized by the IRS that you would reimburse yourself at the close of this issue. We presented and revised it and re-presented it to the Finance Committee. Tonight we're here, and on the agenda, besides the plan of finance, you have the approval of the notice of intent. If you approve that notice of intent, the City Secretary will publish it on your website and on the paper of record on same day, 2 successive weeks. We can actually issue in the state of Texas 45 days after the first publication date. And we're actually targeting issuing at your regular scheduled meeting on March 24th. What will take place, we'll receive bids that morning, present the results to city manager and finance director. As long as they're reasonable and anticipate what takes place, they'll be documented and present for your approval. Between now and then, we'll prepare an offering memorandum, which is a summary of your financial condition, the background on the city, the facts of the debt, and the legal structure of that debt issue. We'll present that to the rating agency. We work with your staff to talk to the rating agencies that are based here in Dallas. They're very familiar with you. You ran a recent update on the city's credit. We'll receive that rating, and then we'll actually publish that. And right now, we use some internet website that's a standard for our industry to give you a feel, and I'll present this to you when we actually do the sale. We actually send that out to about 1,800 individuals who are interested in our market, investors, funds, financial news. We can track how many people actually access it and how many people actually bid on it. We'll provide you that information during the sale, and we'll provide the sale that takes place. In summary, I expect a really good sale. In my experience working with you and some of my other very prominent, high demographic communities that have a low amount of debt, we price through Texas cities equally rated, and Texas in general price through national cities. A lot of people would rather have a Texas bond than one out of California or Ohio. So I expect to price very well and be very competitive and have a successful sale. Going forward, this is a table we prepared for your Finance Committee, and what it really shows is that the 10-year call is what we call the equilibrium call. And so what we're showing on the table to the left is what interest rate we would expect if we amortize it over 10 years or 9 years. And as you see that the interest rate goes up, it's counterintuitive because generally when you have a shorter amortization, like in mortgage, you expect a lower interest rate. But the people that buy the bonds would try to make the same amount of profit for that 9 years that they have for 10, but they have to shorten the time frame they get it, so they have to have a slightly higher interest rate. And so we show the impact, what we expect the pricing impact would be to do that. And then we also show you to the call date how much more money you pay and how much more money you pay to maturity. Then we presented that, and then again, because you got some very sophisticated investors, and they asked me to show where interest rate would have to be break even. And so what we targeted was 5% present value savings. In our industry, some communities would say, what's the present value savings we want to do refunding? We predict 5% of the outstanding par. Some of my clients that have very high standards would actually have this as a minimum bar, and it would equal 1.5 million at the 10th year. So to do the savings of that, in 10 years from now, our average interest rate would have to be, a true interest cost would have to be 402, or about 30 basis points where we have. Not that much different because we're shorter in amortization. And then you have to see where the rates actually go. And it's kind of interesting that we actually have to generate more savings earlier because we're paying more debt service. And the reason is that we actually take the additional debt service to the call plus the saving to get to 1.5 million, if that makes sense. So to long and short, this is something that we presented to them, and I think they're still thinking about it. And market's dynamic, based on market conditions, it may change, and we'll look probably for more input from your finance committee prior to the actual pricing. That's something we don't have to actually decide till the morning that we price the bonds.
Yeah, one of the requests from the finance board was to revisit this call feature during the notice period. It's not something that has to be decided tonight. All we're doing tonight is putting the notice out there that we're moving forward with issuing the COs. But the finance board is really interested in this call feature. They want to spend some time working with Mr. Sabonis and us as to what the best call feature would be for our community, and recommend that back to you before the bonds are actually sold.
Yep.
Thanks, Steve.
This slide is the one that actually I developed for your finance committee, and actually for your finance committee, and also for the Club MD. We're actually in the process of doing refunding of the first phase of the assessments. We're actually pricing it tomorrow, and I'm pleased to say preliminary pricing far exceeds the benchmarks that we've talked to your board about, that we were given the go-ahead to try to execute that, which is also the highest savings we actually showed them in the last 3 years, and we've been tracking this refunding. We report that, we'll have that information today. I'll report to you at another follow-up council meeting. This is a slide that the club actually started. Your council finance committee asked about, and my other clients track it. And it's a unique slide because you'll see the blue line is actually Fed funds target rate. With the traditional thought in my old school economics is that when Fed funds go down, interest rates go down. And you'll see that there's some correlation over time, but what took place around November, December timeframe was there was a dislocation of that correlation. And what took place was as Fed funds moved down, actually interest rates on the long-term bonds went up. And you'll see, and there's been a lot of discussion over the last couple of weeks, if we continue to move down, is there going to be pressure on our long end? Combined with the thought that just in the last week at the Fed committee meeting, they've talked about reducing the size of our balance sheet, which would be shedding long-term assets and put more pressure on long-term interest rates. So I produced this talking to your committee because they said, do we want to delay the sale and look at more, wait till Fed cuts rates? And again, I can't predict rates, but I can tell you what happened recently is that when the Fed did cut rates, long-term concern was inflation was put back into play, and long-term rates went up, and the yield curve tilted higher. I will tell you that when the Fed didn't move rates, the market was positive. We've held rates. My market traders believe that if they had cut rates, long-term rates would have gone up at that time. So that's where we are right now. So that's just kind of some information to say what we think is going to take place in rates. Also, to let you know, we've been tracking some existing debt on a refunding basis. You have two debt issues that have been callable, two series 2013 and 2014. They're outstanding at 3 to 4%, pretty low interest rates. We're tracking them, and there are economies of scale. At any time we look at doing we monitor all our issuers' debt at all time for refunding savings, and we've actually, I think for years, talked to Jay about this project since they've been actually callable. But the fact of the matter is that right now, there is some savings, but not a significant amount of savings. And I would say as your advisor, there's nothing wrong about doing the refunding, but that this is a significant amount of your debt, that you'd lose your ability to call it and to restructure if you wanted to issue additional debt or if interest rates fell. And for the amount of savings, it's not going to be significant for your budget. So for now, we've set this aside, though. We'll continue to monitor it with the city manager and finance director, and if rates move in our favor, and we saw, a jump up in the potential for savings, we could pull the trigger and take advantage of that too. But right now, there's nothing else that's callable available for savings. So in summary, we spent a lot of time on this project, and I think that the plan has been honed over the last 6 months to where it is right now. As your financial advisor, we expect to execute efficiently and exceed what we talk about in this model, this plan right here. With that, I'll answer any questions, provide any additional information I can.
Thank you, sir. It was very well done, very good. The one thing that, before we get into some questions, I would say that a big thank you to you and your staff on working really diligently on this, and also to that finance board. So thank you to this council for the hard work that we did to put very, very talented, high performers into our finance board to review these very sophisticated topics. So at this time, council, what questions do you have for Mr. Sabona? Councilman Dodson.
Mr. Sabonis, just to cross-reference a couple items. So these are being priced on March 24th, and you're looking for a close on April 15th?
Yeah.
On or about, is that correct?
Correct.
Great. So as I understand the process, we'll price purchase these bonds, and then Steve, if I'm not mistaken, we will take down what we need at the time that we need it in order to fund these projects?
No, you'll receive all the money at the time you sell the COs.
Got it. Got it.
It'll be the total 40
Got it. And Mr.
Yes.
Sabonis, follow-on question for you on that. On the refunding timing of that, can you remind me what that timing looks like?
Well, let me go back to that page. Bear with me a second. So on this transaction, they're currently callable. I believe they're callable on 2/15 of 25. And the way these bonds were sold, they're currently, when they hit the current call date, they're currently callable any day after that. So what our plan would be is to fund simultaneously, price the refunding and the new money if it made sense. Right now, though, we would say these savings don't meet the benchmark we'd recommend to you. We've talked to the staff. They have a higher benchmark, and we're going to monitor it. But that's something we could actually do right up to the date of the sale, because it's not going to be new money. It's going to be replacing an existing issue. And what our constraint would be is when we go to the rating agency, when we get our rating, it's going to be based on our total amount of debt and our new debt.
Right.
We'll discuss that. We're monitoring with this, but we could pull the trigger even up to the very date. But right now, no, but it's still an option out there for us to take place.
Keep our powder dry, wait till the savings gets better, and then we'll look for a better opportunity.
Understood. Thanks, Mr. Sabonis. No further questions, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Councilman Dodson. Any other questions by council? Mr. Sabonis or Mr. Alexander, on the questions on call, this is the primary question that our finance board has.
It is the one piece of the issuance they want to take a close look at. Jay mentioned the recommendation they had to council with regards to any projects that might be able to be pushed off to a future bond issue. Take a look at that, and if that were to happen, if council saw an opportunity there to take another look at the water rates, the future water rates. But as it sits right now, the only, and Jay and Jim, if you'll correct me if I'm not remembering this right, but my recollection is the only outstanding item for the finance board to spend some time on is the call feature.
Very good. And ultimately, if the council recalls, we broke this up, right? So this is kind of Series A, and then you're going to have Series B, right, in CO management.
Yes, sir, Mayor, that is correct. So if you recall during the budget process, we had two options. One of the options was to split this into two phases.
Which
This
was
is the first phase.
Which was yet again another great recommendation by the finance board and saying, hey, look,
Yes. Yes,
you know, let's be mindful of this debt absorption, you know, and let's really look at it in a long term, break it up into multiple parts. And then now we're looking at this piece going, hey, look, we've got a reimbursement that needs to take place, right? As well as some of these future states and making sure that we have access to the resources that's needed to make sure that the first phase of this water bridge plan is getting tackled, right?
Yes, sir.
I just dumbing it down, making it real simple.
You got it.
Making it real simple. The audience, I felt like,
And Mayor,
I didn't know if they fell asleep at some point.
let me add something. When we do the notice of intent that we're going to issue these bonds, it indicates a not to exceed dollar amount and a not to exceed list of projects. So up to the actual sale, we can reduce that amount. And I think that the Finance Committee directed the city manager to continue to evaluate and make a determination prior to sale. So we could go forward with the maximum amount as we've got indicated. And if the decision was made to reduce it.
Very good.
It's much easier to reduce issues than to expand issues.
Yeah.
When we get in the process.
Very clear, very, very good. It's good strategy. The idea is that, hey, look, we're gonna go to public notice at this dollar rate, and then there's gonna be a lot of evaluating going on all the way up to the sale of the bond, right? Any further questions, Councilman Dodson?
No,
Okay.
I'd just like to make a motion.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on it. And then also, just stating for the record, those of you at home, for the audience, we're solving big problems. Okay? Solving big problems. It's taken us 2 years to get to this meeting tonight to say we're solving these big problems. So you see a well that's outside that's drilling. We were solving those problems, but now we need to make sure that we're funding the resolution to the issues. And so we thank everybody for their patience that have tuned into these meetings. Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If we could just take one more moment, I know this has been a lengthy item, but if we could take one more moment, I'd like to have Jay just cover the projects with you for your benefit and for the public's benefit. I know council's been through this before, but at least for the public's benefit, to let them know what projects the $40.5 million is intended to cover.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Sabonis. Mr. Ayers.
Okay, and we have the elevated storage tank, the design and construction, at Heath Golf and Yacht Club, that's that $14.5 million amount. The ground storage tank design for the city, only the city, for the design is $750,000. The ground storage tank shared with the city of Rockwall as a part of the updated water agreement between the city of Heath and Rockwall is at 3.7. And also included in that is the restrictor valve, which is also a part of that agreement at $500,000. Well, number one, that's the reimbursement into the utility capital reserve for that $1 million amount that was paid over in association with that project, and then water wells 2 through 4 are covered in this issuance. So.
And as it relates to water well number one, I know everybody's thinking, well, that was a $5.5 million project. Wait a second. Well, if you recall, we had discussed during the budget process, the plan was to use about $4.5 million of our existing resources to go toward that project and then pick up the $1 million of that project from this bond issue.
Right.
Very good. Thank you for the additional clarification. Any questions for staff?
Mr.
Councilman
Mayor?
Dodson?
Jay, I guess question to you and Steve on this. If it's determined at some point between now and March 24th, based on the most recent info that we may not need the $40 million that's initially projected or what we've talked about here tonight, does that materially affect our ability to secure rates if it's a lower number?
I may not be tracking with you.
I think his question is that the total volume that we're requesting, does that change the rates whenever you're going to market? Mr. Sabonis?
Oh, okay.
There is some efficiencies in size, but it's not going to be significant. My understanding, if there was a split in the program, it would be about a 50-50 split in funding, if I remember correctly. So we'd be somewhere in the $20 million range. And at that range, I expect pricing to be very similar. Again, we have a short amortization with significant actual individual power amounts. So I think would be very similar, maybe a basis point.
So
or
Mr.
so.
Sabonis, if it's 30 as opposed to 40, there's not a material break?
No.
Okay, very good. That was really that was really the crux of my question. So thank you for that, because I know that in real time, we're evaluating based on the engineering service agreements, et cetera, that we're getting on the cost to do these capital projects. And I, as a council person, I think like probably most of the dais here, does not want to have to go out and bond any more than we actually need to do these projects. It just doesn't make sense for us to do that.
Can I add one more point? And where you see the interest rate, just because everyone here in this community is very sophisticated, where we'd start to see a difference is if we got to like 7 to 5 million. Now when you stretch out the amortization, the actual underwriters that bid on it will be different because they'll be looking at more retail sales versus institutional sales.
Understood.
And that will cost us a little bit more. But that's again, a minor, it'd be a few base points. But I expect, 7, 5 million, you'd start to see a different bid group and you'd see slightly higher price because of that.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
similar to your call structure.
Yeah.
It goes up.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Mr. Sabonis.
Yep,
Steve,
thank you very
Jay,
much.
thank you all very much for that.
A lot of work's been done, and then also too, just a thank you to the past council that worked on this same exact topic and came to the same or similar resolution that this needed to get done. And so I'm very glad that we're here today, and I know that you guys need the resources. So that way we can get this stuff into engineering, right? The idea is not to, hey, let's get this certificate of obligation, and then, hey, we'll piecemeal this slowly. The idea is that we were elected to solve a problem. We're going to get this solved. All right, very well. At this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I move to approve plan of finance related to the water bridge plan and approve resolution number 260127B, directing and authorizing publication of the notice of intention to issue certificates of obligation, series 2026.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor as stated. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilwoman Horn. Do we have any further questions or deliberation? Therefore, the motion moves. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Sabonis. Thank you, Mr. Ayers. Oh, hold on. Are we doing a roll call, council? I believe this is a roll call item.
Yes, it's a roll call.
All right, well, we've passed the motion. However, we will amend that with a roll call.
Ms. Petty?
Yeah, I didn't have that in my notes. I apologize. Logan, if you would like to roll call that vote.
Councilwoman Cindy Horn,
Yes.
Councilman Johnny Myers,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan Mormon,
Yes.
Mayor Jeremiah McClure,
Yes.
Councilwoman Michelle Thurgood,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Scott Dodson.
Yes.
Very well, thank you for that roll call, and thank you for catching that, I appreciate it. All right, moving into agenda item 5.B, presentation and discussion of the November 2025 monthly financial report. Mr. Ayers.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is your November 2025 unaudited monthly financial report. Just capturing the FY26 financials through the end of November. You can see just a comparison here between FY26 and FY25. In blue is FY26 and in orange is FY25. Just looking here, just beginning of the fiscal year, not much activity on property taxes. Your largest collection months are going to be in the January and February months. So at this point in the fiscal year, we're pretty much on par on collection with property taxes. Sales tax is coming in a little higher than the previous fiscal year. Right now, we're at $325,000 in sales tax collection. We were at $281,000 last fiscal year.
It's just really because the base is so small, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you don't get a lot of material movement, so it's a small fluctuation causes a percentage increase. Yeah, okay.
Then here we have the license and permits, the next biggest revenue behind property tax and sales tax. So far, we're roughly 23,000 off from last fiscal year. And another big change is your other revenues, right there from 123,000 to 34,000. This is just a breakdown that you can find in your financial report of the.
Mr. Ayers, if you'd bear with me on page 31, if we can go back to current fiscal year for municipal P&L management, I'd like to point out of sheer curiosity, we've got our fiscal year 2025 to 2026 column. We've got October of 25 actuals, right, as we're looking at October numbers, but then also as we look at year-to-date actuals versus a year-to-date variance and year-to-date budget, could we see a column in the future for year-to-date budget?
Yes.
So when you're doing a true-up comparison, now we're all going over to prior year, October year-to-date actuals, but we're seeing some deltas, and so to try to understand that, I think we need that clear, column. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody follow me on that?
Yes.
Okay, very well, moving on.
This is just a monthly recap, comparison of the general fund sales tax revenue. As you can see, we've collected 185,000 so far through the end of just for the month of November. If you add those two up for October, that equals the 225,000 in the previous slide, and I think it's roughly 12 to 15% higher than the previous fiscal year.
Hey, Jay, if you can go back again to slide 31. Your last comment under the column to the right on expenditures, your statement is expect to see significant increases in expenditures as we progress through the fiscal year. I just want clarification that this is as planned, right? I mean, of course, we're going to see an increase in expenditures. I would just recommend not calling that out if in fact it's just intuitive that our expenses lie through the remainder of the year.
Okay, all right.
I mean, that statement says that, you know, you're not sure whether they're planned or not, and I would argue that they are probably planned expenditures, but from a calendarization standpoint, they just hit differently.
Okay, all right.
I would agree. Thank you, Dr.
Sorry about that, thank you.
And this is the expenses for the fiscal year for each department, a breakdown there through the fiscal year. Pretty much.
Mr. Ayers, if we can go back to page 32, please, for one thorough review.
Which one? Are you looking at the financial report? Okay. Let's see.
Let's pick up back here. Want to do the next slide, please? There we go. All right, if you can go ahead and describe what we're looking at here, please.
Okay. This is the revenue analysis breakdown. In the previous slide that I showed you in the FY 26-25 comparison for general fund sales tax revenue, this is a breakdown for 3 different revenue categories in the general fund. So you have the sales tax. It gives you a sales tax variance between actual to budget and also the current to prior year. So you have the percentage breakdown there at 11.7% from the actual to budget from for this fiscal year at this point, and then you have an actual dollar amount below that, and then we actually have the breakdown for other categories associated with the fine and forfeiture penalties and license and permits. So, and those right now are under in comparison to the budget and the current year to prior year for.
Is it seasonality or is it just, do you expect it to continue from a gap perspective?
Yeah, well, license and permits, you can probably, see that jump up, the closer you get to like the spring, summer months, because activity is ramping up.
You mean the watering season?
Yeah, exactly. And also with Farm Fortress, it's crazy how the weather sometimes impacts that. Like when it gets warmed up, when it starts warming up, you know, you have more activity, you know, more
Understood.
tickets and.
Mr. Ayers, if I may, have we done any analytics to what the reason for this delta is? I'm not saying that I want to see more fines and forfeitures and penalties. I would like to understand more dramatically the delta that's been created over LY. You've got a $15,000 delta.
Yeah, we can dive into those numbers and give you something more concrete as far as just different line items in the.
Okay, so we're not sure at this time what the delta is?
Yeah.
And what's causing the delta? Okay, and then also too, in sales tax revenue, it's my understanding that we do have access to a breakdown by industry for, you know, where we're seeing the sales tax revenue coming from. It is convoluted, it's not always as clean and clear as we would hope that data to be, but it is one step closer to almost getting to look at some ledger.
Yeah.
So could we start to get some clarity on, you know, if you're showing a 7% increase, what's causing that? What's the driver, right? We're looking at predictability, we're looking at creative revenue, we're looking at a lot of things that the state's looking at from the standpoint of trying to minimize property taxes and creating cap rates and secondary compression points for the cities and the local municipalities. So we've got to understand this sales tax revenue and what's driving what, right? We understand ad valorem, but let's really start to dissect sales tax revenue. I think it's going to create a dynamic dialogue here, but I would also say, you know, as I look at this and I go, okay, great, you're seeing a 7% rise, but you've got an 81% decline on fines and forfeitures. If we don't understand what we're seeing here, then really we're just looking at a piece of paper and nodding that we're all happy with what we're seeing. Okay, so we just need some further clarification on this, and I appreciate the information.
Okay. And this is, on the next page is an expense analysis by division. This breaks down every department within the general fund. As you can see there, total expenditures are at 12% for the fiscal year. That's rightfully on par, better than last year. We were at 14% in 2024. There's only a few departments exceeding their previous fiscal years. Just I think it's like 3 or 4, but roughly altogether, everything seems to be on par through this month.
Jay, from a financial reporting standpoint, I know this is a retrospective look. When will we have December numbers?
We're working on that now. We'll present that to the finance board this month and then present it to you all.
Yeah, it just seems like, and this just may be the fact of how it works.
Municipal government thing?
But man, looking at financials, almost a quarter behind when it happened, gives us such limited response time and assessment. I mean, is that just the way it is?
No. We are focused on getting these out. So basically, December ends. We work through January to close the books for December.
Right.
And typically, what we'd like to see is the financial report for that month out at the end of January.
Right.
For example, December should be out by end of January, first part of February.
Right.
And so we are running a little bit behind, but the objective is to get it to where you're getting it almost a month, maybe a month and a couple weeks.
Yeah, that leads me to my question is, Mr. Alexander, is that as we look at this, are the books closed out for November?
Yes.
That's why you have this report, yes, sir.
Yeah, No, well, but these are October numbers.
No, you have November in
There's-
this packet.
there's,
November is packed in?
There's
Yes.
October and November, so if people were tracking
That's
along,
right, that's right.
going through their books, they're in October now, and Jay's actually reviewing November numbers.
Gotcha.
But you raise a good point from the standpoint of October, November came to you at about the same time.
Yeah.
Which typically is not unusual for cities because during the fall months, October, November, December, your finance departments are typically going through annual audit to close out the annual financials, to close out the books for the annual, for the prior year, go through the annual audit, and so they're focused on that. And typically, there's not a lot of activity in October and November, and so there's usually not a big push to get those out. But typically, what we want to see is we want to see the month we're talking about coming to you at the end of the following month or at the very beginning of the month after that.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. And again, my question is just on the cadence and what is sort of standard operating procedure. So thank you for that.
And this is your water and sewer utility scheduled revenues and expenses. As you can see here in this report, so far year-to-date on revenues, we're at 3.1 million. Expenses are at 2.7. You have access there of $397,267. Revenues at this point of the fiscal year is at 14.2%. Expenses are at 12.7%. This is a revenue analysis of your city water charges and your city sewer charges. Not much activity. You shouldn't see a lot of change in your sewer charges. That's going to stay relatively flat. On the other hand, on your city water charges, you have an increase in November. December, January, February, and March are typically your lower usage months. And as we progress through the rest of the fiscal year, you'll see that start increasing again.
And the increase in November is really due to water rates, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you.
This is a breakdown of your expenses by division in the utility fund. Right now, total expenses expended through November is 13%, which is relatively good in comparison to the previous fiscal year at 22%. And then you have below that a breakdown graph of each department and where they stand in regards to their respective budgets. This is just the Heath Economic Development Corporation, the Heath Municipal Benefits Corporation. Pretty much it falls in line with sales tax revenue, since the city actually gives 50% of sales tax revenue to each one of the corporations. And this is a breakdown. This is the fund balance summary. The general fund at this point of the fiscal year, at November 30, 2025 is $5 million. And your water and sewer utility fund is at $14.8 million. And all of your operating funds, if you look there, totals $24.2 million. And total unaudited fund balance at the end of November is $81 million. And this is a capital improvement program breakdown. At the very top is all of your drainage capital projects. You have Legend Drive, Cerrito Circle, and Meadowview Culvert drainage improvements. We have available balance there with Meadowview pretty much coming to a close of $123,000. The water capital projects, you have the SCADA system upgrades, the fire flow improvements at Dar Stage, which recently closed, the ANI system. Implementation phase number 2 is closed. Then you have the water well design. We still have some project administration on that. and the water well number 1 Town Center Park construction, which is currently in process. Also, the design for the fire flow improvements for Candlelight Park has been completed. Available balance there is $305,000. We have the 3 million gallon ground storage tank design and the elevated storage tank design being done by Garville. The total remaining available balance on those is $282,000 and $78,000 respectively, for a total of $912,000 remaining on those projects. Currently, no wastewater projects are listed. We do have the Terry Lane improvements, which is in process, the citywide street improvement program, 2020-25. At this point in time, we expended roughly a little over $280,000, with a remaining balance of $632,000 at this point. Hubbard Drive Phase Number 4 is getting ready to kick off after this point in time, and you have the citywide street improvement program for 2026. But a lot of that has been expended so far through this fiscal year.
It's not reflected at this point.
Yeah, just not reflected at this point.
Right.
You have the Parks Capital projects, and we have Town Center Park. It's progressing roughly halfway through at this point. The Terry Lane improvement, boat dock, that's been completed. The Public Works facility at this point is halfway complete. And then we have design, both the public safety facilities in design, and City Hall improvements, City Hall beautification, and of course the OpenGov ERP system. Total CIP projects remain in balance right now. It's 27.6. Those started out at 60 million. So we spent over half of that so far at this point in the fiscal year.
Jay, question for you and or Steve. I see the CIP stuff here. These are all kind of what I'd consider sort of above the line, sort of the known. And Steve, this might fall to, I guess, and Jay, maybe the next section on a prospective look at CIPs and the impact. Steve, I see in that next piece that you're not calling for CIPs until April 24th. I mean, is there any way to get a look at that prior to that so that we can really assess what some of these big budget ticket items are going to mean for us in this process?
You're talking about as it relates to departments submitting their CIP?
Yes, sir.
We could. I mean, we're starting early this year, and so we can start requesting that sooner. I mean, this when we get to the budget calendar, that first part leading up till May really is all the internal budget development stuff that we're putting together internally and trying to build that out. And so, but yeah, we can look at, yes, sir, yeah, we can look at pulling that back. So.
Okay. Because I know, I mean, obviously with Brian and his budget for water and, you know, big capital improvement projects and everything else, there's already kind of a hit list out there on sort of what's, you know, what are the next items that are known they're going to be pulled from below the line to above the line. So it would just be good to know what that material impact it is as that's being codified. Okay, thank you, guys.
And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
We'll move right into November.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right. Very good, thank you, Mr. Ayers. At this time, we will move into 5.c, review and discussion of the preliminary proposed budget calendar. Mr. Ayers?
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. This here is just a TML calendar. This pinpoints, you know, worst case scenario, dates, and key milestones that we have to hit in order to possibly adopt a de minimis tax rate if that was the case for city council. So we actually used this to build the budget, the preliminary budget, proposed budget calendar for FY '27. And just the key in this is actually getting that proposed budget filed by July 18th in order to have that consideration. So that's one of the big key components in ensuring that we're able to do that for you all.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to propose that we consider at least a public visioning budget section so that we get an opportunity as a group in a public forum to discuss what we're trying to achieve with the budget, with the department heads and the members of council.
Very well. And you make that recommendation for what bracket of time?
Well, I'd like to review that with Steve and with Jay to see how that would fit into this calendar of events.
Okay.
And when that should occur, but I do think that it's important from a transparency perspective that we allow the public access to what it is that we're trying to achieve from a big bucket standpoint and from a priorities and KPI standpoint. And I think that may in fact go a great way to help us achieve that.
And essentially, your concern is that the public doesn't see it until June 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. Duly noted. I don't have any disagreement to it by any stretch. I know the concerns on staff would be is that we've got to get our annual budget. We're running so many projects. You've got your annual audit. I mean, there's about a million things going on. But to his point, if you were to look at between April and June, that there's some time in there.
Absolutely. We will definitely fit a date in there to meet with city council to kind of hit high-level objectives and for the budget and key interest items that the council may have that they want to see fit into the budget. And we'll do our best to get that list of capital put together as we know it at that time for us to hit as well.
My thought is that in general, I mean, there's a general interest in the overall budget, but I think where most minds would go, and correct me where I'm wrong, council, I would think that it would be at the capital improvement planning part of what we're trying to accomplish, and understanding, all the projects that we've done, but also, hey, what's that future state look like? I think that's the big element when you're looking at the overall budget.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I totally agree with that.
I know what his request immediately creates, and it creates this, we got a lot of work in a tiny amount of time. Okay, so let's break that off and say, what's the real need? What's the real exposure that we want to make sure that the city gets an opportunity to see, but also the council is looking at that capital improvement plan.
Yeah, because if I'm a voter, I'm concerned about, hey, what are the things that we are going to see and that we see as being valued and valuable as a community?
I agree.
Right? Yeah. And that may not be, while it's important to those of us here on this council, sewer infrastructure and things like that.
That's really fun stuff.
Because, I
don't know about you guys.
We
talking
know
about lift stations.
Yeah.
It's top notch. It's for the viewers at home.
Yeah, but for the other things, in all seriousness, I think that, the items such as the water, the roadways, the other, the park improvements, the trail connectivity, things like that, that those are all of the big visioning things I think that people want to continue to see.
Yeah.
And if we could help them with that, as we're also planning the budget process, that would be incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I agree. And Mr. Ayers, you were here, and we've got new senior leadership, but we did work towards that goal with the past council over the last budget cycle. I think we could probably minimize the workshop itself to where it's like, hey, council, tell us, out of all of these departments and out of all of these things, I think you guys have a good pulse on what the council's expectations are as elected officials, as we represent the constituents and what they've asked us to accomplish. So I really think that you could narrow down that workshop and then we could just get right to work.
Gotcha.
I think I think it was a great exercise that we did, but I think we were trying to accomplish that, and then we went really broad. And
Yeah, with the sticky note.
yeah, let's bring that thing
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Sticky note exercise was great, but this go around, we can really isolate, what are the projects? Let's get to the brass tacks. Let's talk about the money. Where's it coming from? And how are we going to get certain things in alignment? And then during that process, assuming that you guys collaborate with your directors and have that broken down, that meeting can be nuts and bolts, and the council at that time can then ask those types of questions. We don't need to go back through every line.
I'm
item
not
and every
interested in
department.
death by a thousand
Yeah.
cuts here.
Yeah.
I wanna
That was-
make sure that.
That was
that
death
we
by
just
a
have
million
the-
paper cuts.
Yeah,
but
I wanna make sure we have the big macro
Yeah.
items
a
called out.
fun exercise, and we all enjoyed it. Don't
Yeah,
lie.
giddy up.
All right. Very good. Okay. I concur. I like it. Council, everybody good?
Yeah, I
Councilwoman
just
Horn?
want to make sure in that meeting and that discussion that we not only talk about what we're doing, but how it impacts the community. How are all these things that we're putting forward, what is it going to do? I've had more questions about the increase in the water bills, and I want to be able to talk to the community about that. I want to be completely transparent with them about what they can expect. They've made it clear they want it, and I want them to know clearly what, how much it's going to cost.
Yep, very much so. And for those of you at home that are wondering what we're doing here about water, is we're trying to make it to where we don't ever go to a boil water notice again. That was the roughest summer of my life. Very good. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Great project.
Thanks, Jay.
That's no problem.
Okay. All right, moving into agenda item 5.f, discussion and update on current capital projects to include, but not limited to, Hubbard Drive project. Buckle your seatbelt, here we go. Hubbard Drive project, the Water Bridge Plan, Meadowview Culvert Project, Town Center Park Project, Terry Lane Road Rehabilitation and Trail Project, Candlelight Fire Flow Project, and Public Works Facility Project and Street Repairs. Mr. Creed.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council.
We got a lot going on.
I just have 6 or 8 financial slides we need to run through right quick before we start.
Very good. If we could go ahead and pull the ledger out.
Only if it's
I'd like to see a chart, a graph, and a Gantt chart.
All right, so these are pretty brief. I know it's been a long night, but it's important information. The Hubbard Drive project, on November 5th, we awarded that to Apple Pavement Services in the amount of $5.74 million. The construction contract on that is 360 days, or approximately a year. They have mobilized. I don't know if you've seen that bottom left picture down there shows you the temporary lane they're building now to get ready to do the traffic control plan portion to get them off the road so they can begin construction on it. We did start citizen engagement, provided it through direct mail, text, and social media. Suzanne's done a great job with that. And as long as this project, I know this is important to our citizens, and we're going to keep Suzanne updated, and you can access that information at heathtx.com/construction-updates. This is the detour map we sent out to the residents. You notice there the red portion is where the actual one-way temporary road is. It seems very small in this picture. However, this is a demonstration of the actual traffic control plan for the actual citizens to be able to get around Heath as this project moves forward. The next portion is the bridge plan.
Hold on real quick. I'd like to say for the residents that live in our lovely neighborhood off of Michael and Lee Drives, that we will be remediating the transition, so the gravel areas that have caused issues in some displacement will be remediated during this portion. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Very well.
Those cuts that occurred during previous phases will be corrected in this concrete pour here.
Very well, thank you. And thank you guys for your patience at home. I know you guys have been waiting on this project, and know that the detour is not lost on everybody here, but we will be working diligently, and ultimately, it's a 12-month project, but we're hoping for August. And I like to say those things on the record just to make sure that you at home understand that's what we're being told. Maybe we'll be done by August. No pressure. No pressure. Thank you, guys. Go ahead, Mr. Creed.
Yes, sir. All right, Town Center Park well number 1, obviously, we went over this a little bit, but is awarded to C. Miller Drilling. They're currently on site. Everybody's seen the rig outside. They mobilized October 20th. It is a 22-month project overall. Some of the milestones we've hit: the pilot hole was completed at the depth of 3,350 feet. Drilling was interrupted by equipment failure here in the last few days, or a couple weeks ago now, or a week ago now. The equipment failure was just below 2,900 feet. They mobilized the necessary fishing tools to get the debris out of the hole, as they had a hole opener break apart on them. However, they were very successful on their first or second try and removed all the debris. Hole opening is currently back underway. However, I did notice this morning they were pulling the stands out and giving everybody a thumbs up. So I haven't gotten a 100% on this yet from our staff over there, our contractors over there, but I think we may have been done with that, and next step will be bringing the casing down hole. The contractors told us the current rig down projected date is of 3/20. We're also going to get some clarifications on that. There will be a pause after rig down, waiting for the lead time on the electrical items we've discussed. It's a 22-month project, right? And you're going to be done drilling in March, so they will stop. We'll have to wait for the electrical items to show up, and then they'll come back and finish out the well, set the permanent pump and things like that.
Brian, when will we get a sense for water quality and water volume?
So that'll be the 36-hour pump test.
Okay, so not till the casing, God, this, please don't
Correct.
say 36 months.
It would be just prior to rig down.
Yep, gotcha.
Well, we do know that we've hit potable water.
We do.
Right,
It's lab test at this point.
right.
So
Right.
the E-log demonstrates it is likely potable water below the TDS threshold, but we will have to conduct full lab tests on the actual water when
Right.
it comes up. But spectral analysis came back good.
Okay.
I look forward to that photo op of drinking that water, so let me know when I need to be there.
We got you on the calendar, Mayor.
One quick question,
Yes, sir.
on the drill. Now, I know rig down is March 20th. Obviously, decibels and running things at 24/7 has a couple of residents where there's a constant buzzing, of frustration, right? So, we're taking note of that. You guys are continuing to do decimal readings to make sure, DPS was at some point. Very good. And then as far as the rig down, are you actually drilling all the way to March the 20th, or will the drilling conclude somewhere in between now and then?
Well, I don't want to speak out of turn here. However, and Anthony, I don't know, Anthony's never represented Kimberly Horn is here, and I don't know if you have any discernment on this. I don't believe so, because we're going to be talking about setting casing, and then they're going to be cementing and things of that nature. The drilling is complete.
Okay,
In fact, I don't think it's running now.
right.
So
Can you speak to that?
I
Anthony?
can't speak for sure on that, that's my understanding as well, but we
Yes.
can certainly get some clarification.
yeah, I think we would need to come back to know exactly what is the scope of work when we're lowering that casing?
Yeah.
Because the rig will have to run, because they have to put those joints together and send them down hole. But I don't know that that's a 24/7 function they have to do.
Yeah,
'Cause
if council can get clarity on that item, that'd be great,
We'll
as we
get it.
have constituents asking.
All right. Moving on to wells 2 through 4. Kimberly Horn is also working on a scope for the design of these wells. Site planning survey and geotechnical has been underway. I know Kimberly Horn is coordinating with Garver, and I think they're having meetings with them every 2 weeks on because some of there's some co-location of the wells and the new tanks were also under design, working on these things. and I've deferred to Anthony, but I think we're about 30% on this.
A little further.
A little further, okay, okay. And so we'll have our 60% coming up hopefully in the next few months and be able to give you some more ideas on this. There's some flexing in the schedules on this we're having to work through with the coordination of actually building the tanks and drilling the wells. There's gonna be some competition for the space there on the work site, so we're gonna have to figure that out. Any questions on those, or you wanna wait, keep going?
No, keep
All
running,
right.
keep working
All right,
hard.
City of Heath, elevated 1.5 tank that's over there on Governors. We did do 60% plan review on January 8th. That is on schedule, if not a week or two ahead of schedule. We don't see any issues here. Like I said, they're coordinating with Kimley Horn. You can see in that little sketch over there, we show whether we think the well yard kind of would impact where the water tower is. But they will have to do one and then the other at some point. And obviously here, we want the tank to go up first because we need something to pump the well into.
So essentially, there's some concerns with the laydown yard or the drill rig itself?
Both, right? So when the space that the construction people need for the tower impacts the well yard, and the space that the well yard needs impacts the construction of the water tower.
And where's the well going?
So this area right here is what we determined to be the well yard. So I suspect the well would. I haven't seen a placement, but it's going to be somewhere in this area right in here.
Okay, so that's what you've called out that box. I don't have a PowerPoint in my presentation to follow along, so I can't see that.
Apologize for that.
Okay. All right, so
Oh,
I can't,
sorry.
I can't read that, right? So I guess the question I have is that how much of that space is needed for the development of that tower?
Yes, so for the construction of the tower, the impact, once the construction is finished, it only needs this. But there was some concern that this was not be big enough for the well driller.
Okay.
And allow them to have space to work and lay their components out to finish out the tower.
Okay.
Because they have to do a lot of welding, there's a sheet and forms.
And have
things
we
that-
met with the adjacent property owner to see if there's any collaboration there?
So,
for their
yes,
unused property?
we're coordinating right now with, this belongs to Heath Golf and Yacht, for them to give us a right of entry.
And when you say Heath Golf and Yacht, is that an individual or is that an entity?
So the individual has told us that we need to get with the entity.
Okay, and the entity is the MMD?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay. So we need to find that out.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay.
Well, that individual's working on it for us.
Okay.
So I did ask Tanner with Kimley Horn to take a look and see if there's, actually I spoke to Kenny Fryer, sorry. And indicated to him we'd like to explore the option of using properties on either side to see if we can get both these projects going at the same time as opposed to delaying one of them. And so they're currently exploring that.
Okay. So Kimberly Horn's reaching out to the ambiguous entity.
What's it? Heath Golf and Yacht, yes, sir.
Yeah, but what's the entity? I know the name. I know the name of the development. What's the entity?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can go offline. Just somebody needs to give us some clarity on
Sure.
who's on first, who's on
Sure.
second. What are we doing?
Yeah.
This highly impacts this project.
It
That's
does.
why I'm asking these very direct questions. And so the council needs insight to, the flow and function of things. It's
Sure.
not that we need to money morning quarterback how you guys are operating. We just need some clarity to how things are going to get done as we are held accountable to
Sure.
to the constituents.
We're just not there yet, Mayor, to be
Okay.
honest with you, on what the needs are and how that's gonna look. I don't think there's an overall concern of whether or not we're gonna get a right of entry or no construction needs, but it all is being mowed as one lot currently.
Yep. I just want us to get there faster.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
very good. And so if Kimberly Horn's taking point on that, if they can just make note of that, and let's get those answers. Okay, very good.
Additionally, we have the City of Heath 3 million gallon storage tank, which is at our pump station over off Townsend. This is scheduled for 60% plan review tomorrow. And then beyond that, this is also, at least in the design phase, ahead of schedule.
Okay, and,
Same things apply here, with the, well and the tank. There could be some conflicts there, but I think we're determining that we're gonna possibly push this tank off a little bit. I'm not sure. I know I've had some discussions with Mr. Alexander.
yeah, there's a little bit of, hey, if you don't mind me speaking on your behalf on this, right? The idea is that as we planned this project, we also had an MOU that we were working on, right? So memorandum of understanding when we were working on some settlement opportunities with the city of Rockwall, and one of those elements is that we're going to go into a shared asset approach to storage management, right? And so this was on the docket, being planned. This is how aggressive we've been as a council to get these things done. We're getting it engineered. We know that we need it in a future state. The question now is, because of the MOU and the contract that is impending, that we will get done very, very quickly here, is that now we are going to have another opportunity for a 3 million gallon storage tank in which we'll have half ownership in that asset, and that's going to be actually handled through North Texas Municipal Water District in Rockwall. Right?
Yes, sir.
And we're going to share in the expense of getting that done. So this engineering will still get completed, but it may move on the docket a bit on the actual construction. So those are some of the elements that you're referencing.
Yeah, and it may help us if we go ahead and drill the well first.
Correct.
And then we're not impacting the construction of the
And
tank.
that's where I was headed. Thank you.
And so this particular project, the construction of this project is in our phase 2 of our bond issue, if you may recall during our budget discussions, not phase 1 that we just had you pass a notice of intent to issue COs on. So.
Drill, baby, drill.
Have we followed up with any concerns with permitting with the city of Rockwall?
So I know that's been on the Kimley Horn to-do list, but I have not heard back yet.
Kimberly Horn, if you would take note of the question. Thank you. Very good.
Right, let me see. Oh, there we go. The next project on this is, there's not much to this here. The Meadowview Culvert, it has been substantially completed. This is essentially how it looks now. We do have temporary barricades with some guardrail up. The contractor is waiting on, my understanding, the end pieces. I don't know if you ever saw the real flat compressible pieces they put on the end of those guardrails. There's been a delay in getting those for this project, but he says it will be here and constructed by mid-February. So I'm hoping it's in the next week or two.
Very good, and great job on that project. I believe the contractor had through April.
I think it was, Mr. Mayor, if I remember right, it was March 5th.
March 5th.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I was maybe getting one of our 100 programs confused. But thank you. Great job, your staff, and all of the intentionality that was done. I mean, you guys were on site every single time I drove by. I appreciate that, and making sure that these residents are being taken care of to get these temporary barricades up instead of keeping it closed until we actually get the final product for the barricades. So I know that there was a lot of work done. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's all I have on Meadowview. The next one is the Heath Town Center Park.
I'd like to point out that's not a splash pad, that's a spray fountain.
Just spray fountain with LED lights.
We're trying to get our all of our terminology on the same page, you know? The splash pad was the Splash Creek, and the Splash Creek got cut by the park board for budgetary constraints to almost a year and a half ago. So that is a spray fountain. Please continue. Thank you.
All right. Here's a few aerial photos that show how conditions are now. You can see in the left there, that is the baseball field. To the right there is your Festival Street leading up to the fountain pads. The fountain pad. And to the bottom right there is the pond, or the entrance where you'd come into the park. You see that pond wall that's built there that is part of that entrance. You can also see the drilling rig in that top right photo if you look right above the little spiral circle there. These are some of the things that have been done recently. You look on the top left and you'll see that this is the pond wall. Much of that will be under the water. This is part of the walking and viewing area. It's going to have a fence around there. You can see those poles up right there. That'll be full of water that actually irrigates our park from this pond. The bottom left is our little swing area. It's next to our existing playground equipment you'll see there on the left with the new blue and green turf they just put down on that section. And to the right of that, or you'll see this large Caterpillar. There's actually two of these, and they're, I don't know that this picture does it justice. These things are pretty big. They're a little imposing when you go out there and go out to it. But in recent days, our progress on this has been artificial turf in front of the restrooms in the butterfly play area. Irrigation work is continuing on the baseball field, the soccer fields, the Dry Creek area, which is over there on the road, like you're coming down from the water tower. Their sidewalk and fencing are all substantially complete. There are some small areas here and there that are still open that we'll have to tighten up as we move forward. Obviously, the entrance pond equipment, if you were able to get over there, you'll see the fountain is installed, and it's sitting there on the bottom of the pond. And obviously, the well drilling continues on site. If you have any
Very
questions.
good. Before we move on, as you all appreciate, the mortar needs to be addressed.
Okay.
On the overlook. Okay, so the color, I'd like to understand. I think the council should have some insights to this, who approved the submittals on that product.
Okay.
Okay. I know that some of the original renderings were split face, and then at some point, probably for waterproofing purposes, my guess is that we've gone to larger stones, and then the mortar, you can see the discoloration between the underwater and the above water. It's a pink tan. I don't think that it necessarily matches the stone. I think that's a chopped looter. But I just think that we need to have some insights to who's chosen some of these color palettes, because I sat through those park board meetings, and I've sat through those council meetings when selections were being done, and I don't recall any of this, and I can tell you I have some concerns about that. And now's the time, if we're going to remediate this. You get too far down the road, this is a done deal, and it's got a pink tone.
Yep, yes, sir, and we're working with Hill and Wilkinson and Kimley Horn on that very issue.
Okay.
And so, in case people haven't seen it, to the mayor's point, as you look at the fountain, as you look at the pond walls, and then part of the walls that are at the stage, this picture probably does not do it justice with regards to what we're talking about here. But you'll see a gray stone, but then the mortar turned out to be kind of a little bit of a red hue to it, or a pink hue to it, if you will, and it just doesn't seem to go together. And so we've expressed our concerns to Kimley Horn and Hill and Wilkinson about it, and we are working right now on this issue.
Yeah, and this is a now thing, right? To the two parties in the room, this is a now thing. So we got to get on this. We got to figure this out. If everybody can live with it and everybody's fine with it, and those of you at home, if you love the way that it looks, I'm fine with it. But from an aesthetic standpoint, I think it needs to be addressed, so.
Okay.
Councilwoman Horn, did you have a question?
I do.
Okay.
Do we have a updated completion date, current completion date?
Yes, well, we do. We have, and I'll let either John Arringer or Minnie Castro come up here. They're the project managers on this, and let them answer those questions. And they may even have some insight in what we're doing about the mortar as well.
Yeah, so the substantial completion date for the fun run, so be it, is still on the 7th. We're still waiting on the completion date for the well, for the total substantial completion date on phase 2. And then we've got some options on the mortar. We can stain it, we can leave it the way it is, we could remove it, and we still have 2 walls to do, so depending on what the decision is,
Yep.
we can remove it, change it to the gray color, and then we also can stain it. So depending on those, the option, we just need the decision. So
And I think a mason's coming in that has expertise in staining on Friday.
on Friday at
And
noon.
will give us a better idea of what, if staining is an option, what can it go to?
Yeah, it's just gonna be darker.
Yeah, I would suspect it would need to be darker, that's correct.
So, you're gonna call out the stone more predominantly. but it's just gonna be darker. So it's not gonna be the blended that everybody sees down behind below the weep holes. All of that is a tan, or is a gray mortar, and then above is a tan amber mortar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we were impacted a little bit by the weather last week, so we've requested the ability to work on Saturday and Sunday to catch up to make sure that we make the April date, so the fun run can happen. So
Yeah.
that's our goal.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we'll be doing a walkthrough. I think I'll be going out there Friday for a walkthrough to take a look and better understand too, how things are gonna be set up for the fun run, what areas need to be secluded from pedestrians walking on and off the sod. At what point are you guys putting sod in? You're gonna need 6 weeks or more to take root.
Right, yeah, we'll have all of the sod in by the time the fun run goes.
Okay.
There's some planting that won't happen, some of the hydro mulching that's gonna have to be done in May, late April, May, when the temperature permits that to grow. So that'll be Curlex areas potentially, so, but all of the sod will be in.
What temperature do you need for that hydro mulch for edification of everybody on
You
council?
need 60 degrees and rising in the evening, so.
Very good, okay. And what's the, for the permeable property, how much is hydro mulched? Percentage?
How much is gonna be hydro mulched? So I think it's the Dry Creek area, anything that has the 15%.
Okay.
Yeah.
The entirety of the Dry Creek, the lip at the bottom, the very, very front of the showpiece entrance pond, so that's stripped along FM 740.
The right
And
way.
then there are portions back behind the school, behind the baseball field, from the water tower to the limit of work. So that whole back lot. again.
Okay, so very much out of the way for the 5K is what I'm
Yeah, and
hearing.
we have a map that we can share with you guys if you'd like to see what areas will be hydro mulched and, put in later. So one of the other challenges that we're having too is a lot of these, a lot of the plantings we're gonna be doing are dormant right now, so, until it warms up, they'll be in the ground, you're just not gonna see them.
Right.
So, as it warms up, everything will start to
It'll look great, no
look good,
foliage.
yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Sorry for going that knee deep in it, but I appreciate you guys doing that.
Any more questions on the park? All right.
No more
All
questions.
right. The next one is Terry Lane reconstruction. As y'all know, we did a city-county ILA for $2 million. We did our subgrade study. We evaluated concrete and asphalt, obviously, and we selected concrete. This project has went through both the city council and the commissioners court, both been approved, and the project was awarded to Boardwalk Paving. They have since mobilized, and this is a copy of the letter that we passed out to residents that would be impacted during this process, especially impacted. I mean, obviously, if somebody comes from the outside, but working with those area residents, getting the word out. Project's currently underway. I don't know if you've driven down there, but there's already been several panels poured back. These guys ain't messing around, and I'm glad to see it. It's moving very quickly. So it's expected duration is 2 months, and to be in and out of there. So that's really great news. And I'm happy to entertain any questions. I mean,
Yeah,
this
great
just-
job.
this
It's
just
taken us a
started.
year and a half to get here, so we're very, very excited for what you guys are accomplishing. On the trail side, sidewalk sections, where are we at as far as, I know that there were signed right-of-way access by many, but we've got to do surveys, et cetera. And then we've also got to figure out how that thing doesn't dead end, right? So we've got to bring it across some way. We've had meetings with TxDOT. Those seem to be extremely cumbersome off Smurl Drive, so therefore we're looking at secondary. We know that on this future CIP planning for the roadway of Larry, one of our oldest roads, it needs to be addressed. I mean, holy cow, that road needs a lot of love. It needs to be ripped out and redone. For those of you at home that live on Larry Drive, we're trying. So, but hopefully maybe there's some collaboration with those homeowners and maybe bringing that trail down there, that sidewalk trail, through that road. So then that way we can improve that road as well as a trail and then interconnect it. Because ultimately what we want to do, and I believe this is the will of the council as well, as we represent the constituents, is that we want to be able to get people to traverse from Terry Park all the way down to Town Center Park and vice versa, right? So
Yes, sir.
where are we at in that process?
Okay, so, yes, as far as when we're referring to the parts of Terry, we sent out rights of entries so we could get the surveys done. We sent out 16 of those. We have gotten 5 back currently. So what FMI, Richard Dormeyer, has put together with his survey group to have them come out, and actually he's held them to have them come out next week to go ahead and start on these 5 so we can at least get these surveyed and get those exhibits drawn to be able to begin the process to negotiate and get the easement signed from those residents.
Now, these 5, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Yes.
these 5, in collaboration to what our commissioner and another volunteer were able to go get signed, are they the same 5? Are there more that actually signed that and said, hey, I'm willing to?
So we reached out to everyone everyone they had a commitment to talk to us about this has not signed yet.
Okay. All right, so we still have a delta there.
We do.
That could be a very positive outcome.
We do.
Yes.
What's the delta there with how many they brought in versus the 5 that we received back?
I think we had feedback from a total of, originally with them of 9. We had 7 show up to the meeting.
Okay.
And then we've got signatures from 5.
Okay.
Now, we've had positive conversations with much more than that who have not yet signed.
Okay.
And I think they just need to maybe have another conversation.
Who's taking point on that?
That would be our team has to take point on that.
Okay, who on our team?
Me and Tiffany and Ricky.
Okay. All 3 of you? You
Yes,
call
sir.
at once?
Yep.
Same
Well-
call? You're all on a conference call?
We attack it separately.
Okay, all right. You split up the list, you send it out. All right, very
We
good.
have all made phone calls and have at least the beginnings of relationship with the different people.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, and to speak to what the mayor was talking about the trail coming up Larry, is originally our intention was to bring it all the way up Terry and then cross Smurl somewhere in there. In the meetings with TxDOT, they said absolutely not. You have to bring the trail to a controlled intersection. So, and we verified that twice, and they said we're not gonna allow it. So, that kind of changed our scope. We couldn't cross anywhere but a controlled intersection. Well, the controlled intersection is right down here, by the park, so we got to get down here. So it seems to make sense to utilize Larry in this opportunity as we build that road to possibly build a trail along that road as well and bring it up to the controlled intersection of 549 here, 740. Okay. Oh, any more questions about the trail or Terry or?
I think we went all the way down into the ingredients, so thank you.
We did. All right, Candlelight Fire Flow. This is a brief one, as you have not awarded this one yet, but the city did go out for bids on January 12th. We received a total of 18 bids on this project. Staff does intend to bring forward a request on the next meeting of February 10th to have this one awarded. Again, I'll discuss anything you want to discuss. I mean, you can see the list of responses there.
My understanding is there's a positive variance out of this, correct?
There is.
What is the amount of that variance?
So the 2023 OPC was just over $3 million for this, and it looks like we have a non-responsive on the top bid here, but I think there's only a $7,000 delta to the next one of 1.591, I believe. So a delta of about $1.4 million.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I think the budget we had in place was $2,900,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 1.3 million.
Right.
Yeah. And so the idea there, with a positive variance, not to continue to create projects and overload and all the things, because I think you guys are doing an amazing job with so much. But as we look down the list of the fire flow, when I first took office, it was kind of Councilman Dodson and Councilman Mormon and I looked at this and it was like, man, we got a 10 plus. We don't really know when we're going to get to all these fire flow. And the three of us said, hey, that's not gonna work. And we got to sharpening the pencil and we said, hey, we're gonna make it work, and we're gonna fit it into 5 years. And you guys have been able to do Dar Estates, and you're soon to accomplish another large neighborhood that
The
affects a lot of people. And so you're gonna get Candlelight Park. Now can we look down that list and go ahead and use that delta and apply that into, let's get engineering going on the next one down the list?
Absolutely.
Is that maybe the thinking, Mr. Alexander?
Right, yes, sir. Yes, we can move forward on design.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They've already been scheduled to be designed.
Right, but we can, to the mayor's point, yes, sir, we can move those projects forward.
Okay, great.
Because the quicker we can get design and bids, the quicker we can see if it generates additional positive variance.
Right,
Sure.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, and to Councilman Dodson's point, I think you're about to make, is that it seems like right now is a great time in the construction world to go ahead and put stuff to bid.
18 bids is a lot.
That's exactly,
right.
and that's what we're hearing.
And a pretty big delta there between, I believe that's $5.6 million and the lowest bidder, so.
Yes.
Great time to build stuff.
Yeah. Good point, Mr. Dodson, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Moving on.
The Public Works Building. This project is ongoing.
And dragging dramatically.
It is. Mr. Alexander and I have been working somewhat pretty hard to try to bring this back up to speed. They currently do have the erectors on site, and you can see in that picture on the right that yesterday they did pour a portion of the driveway. So we are seeing some positive movement out there now. They are submitting, I think, one additional change order we've got to work through.
Yeah, there's a few change orders we're working on. They're immaterial to the project as a whole. They are asking for some additional days, which we are evaluating that right now. We don't necessarily agree with some of the days they're asking for. They do have 38 weather days that they're claiming on this project, which is part of the reason they say they're behind. But there have been numerous times I've been out to this site, and I've been out to this site numerous times, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of activity, which we have conveyed to the contractor, our frustrations over that. And we've had 2 meetings with them at this point, working to get this project as close to back on track as we can. I mean, the original substantial completion date was in March. They're now saying the substantial completion date is going to be in May with a final completion early June. And so,
that is correct.
Yeah, and I would say Councilman Mormon actually brought up some concerns pretty early on some of this with the contractor. So my concern is that where we're at with the contractor, because this has been delayed. I know that there are weather days. I understand what that looks like, but I also understand when you have 3 people on site erecting steel, that's a slow process.
It is.
And then I also understand that, hey, there are things that happen in engineering and things sit on desks, and so there can be finger pointing. But I would be very curious that we continue to dialogue this in our next council meeting, because we are not on point, we are not on schedule, and I don't think anybody on this dais is happy about it.
Okay.
No different than I know that the Public Works employees have had to deal with temporary housing for this entire time, and to me it is like, man, we've got to go and let's get this thing done. So whatever needs to be done, let's do it.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to propose that we bring the contractor in front of this council at the earliest possible time for them to convey what they are doing to get back on schedule, and for us to convey in no uncertain terms what our expectations are. And I'd also like to understand what our clawback ability is with relation to their contract and any other remediation measures that we may have.
Yeah, I think in the contract, we have an opportunity for liquidated damages. Now, granted, they will have an opportunity to make requests like many contracts for weather days. You know, and so that is going to be something they're going to put forward to us in accordance with the contract that they are owed. And that's right now sitting at 38 days.
Well, I know Mr. Alexander, as the city manager, CEO of the city, currently has a teed-up meeting with the owners of this organization. You guys are going to be meeting about some of these concerns?
Well, we have met, and we
Okay.
have expressed our concerns, and so they're very well aware that we're not pleased with the status of this project at this point in time, and we've encouraged them to do all that they can do to get out here and get this project, again, as much back on track as we can.
And since that meeting, have we seen any level of improvement with activity?
Well, again, since that meeting, they've poured this road. They have got their erectors to show up on site, as you can see in this picture, at least the erector machines, and they are having more people out there. Still not to our level of satisfaction as to the number of people.
Okay. So I think I echo Councilman Dodson's point. I think it's probably the will of the council to do so. My recommendation is that let's have a conversation with them again. And then if that conversation doesn't yield, then we would expect to see this on the agenda. Very well. All right, very good.
All right, the next item is is anybody else on the Public Works building? Or
I think
All
we got
right.
that one covered.
Is the street repair status report. This is a graphic that Suzanne provides
This is awesome.
on our website.
It's a great graphic. Suzanne, did you write that down? That's a great graphic. We just talked about that.
She's been killing it. We got to give her accolades. There ain't no doubt about it. On our street repair project, like I said, we've completed 33 projects in this one up to date. This is as of last week, I believe, the end of last week. With 23 future planned projects, we're going to bring you some more quotes at our next council meeting to keep moving on. I know y'all seen well, I suspect you have. I know the mayor probably has in Heathland Crossing. He probably has to deal with that every day. But soon that'll be completed. And we're still working somewhat on Country Club, and then we have some minor little areas where we're still working. But we're going to bring you some more of these next week. Again, the fiscal year 2025 budget for us, I know this, when you see the financial records, it doesn't show it, but for us, once we encumber it and we push and y'all approve it, for us, the money comes out. We don't see it. It's off our levy. So we depleted the 2025 budget of $920,000. And we've brought down the 2026 budget down to $750,000.
And due to the request of Councilman Dodson, we will have this topic on I believe the next meeting agenda. Next week. So, man, this is all running together. Boy, we took some vacation time with that snowstorm. So we will discuss that, and we'll kind of talk about, is there any opportunities as far as, hey, we've utilized this budget because we're running so quick and fast at this, but, so we'll talk about that at a later date. One recommendation I would have, Ms. Suzanne, if we could actually have an additional document that shows all 33, and as we go, we'll have all of those just being compiled back over into a secondary graphic. Very good.
Hey, Brian.
Yes,
just on this list, this group that you guys hired is just crushing it.
They are.
They are just absolutely crushing it. I'd like to propose as they get, a little bit further, that we bring this group in and we really reward and recognize them for the job that they're doing. And I know, yes, they're being paid and that should be their reward, but man, they are really making progress across a really broad front. And I don't think that happens typically with people that you employ to do work like this. And you've just done an exceptional job managing them and selecting them to do this work. And I tell you what, the people in Buffalo Creek certainly don't mind the Texas State Flower being the traffic cone, being the order of the day on several of the roads in there. That is very, very much appreciated.
I think they appreciate that, Councilman Dotson, and I echo that. They've been outstanding.
Yeah, so if we can recognize this group at an appropriate time, I'd certainly be in favor of that, and I'll leave it to you guys to decide if that's appropriate and or what the timing might be for that.
All right, very good. Anything
Certainly
else?
not for the next 2 months, because
I was going to say every Friday they're rewarded, but I appreciate Councilman Dodson thinking about culture. I like it.
You gotta make hay while the sun shines and
All right.
get on it.
Mr. Creedon?
That's it. Y'all kind of ask questions during each one of the events or the
All right. Council,
projects on
Council, at this time, do you have any questions, Councilwoman Horn?
I do. First of all, I have to echo what Scott said. Buffalo Creek is so grateful. And I was on Terry Lane today. There were flaggers there telling people to stop, slow down. They were friendly. It was really impressive. My question, and I have already talked to Mr. Alexander about this a little bit, is I want to go on record talking about my concern for Larry Drive. And I know that the mayor brought it up earlier. I saw on there that there's nothing that we're looking at further. I don't want our residents to be confused that means that there's no other streets.
That's a bigger project.
That are going to be repaired. I know it is a large project, but I just want to make sure that the constituents on Larry know that we have not forgotten, that we are talking about what we can do. And I'd love to know your kind of position on that.
So I agree with that, and I'll of course, whatever our city manager wants to do, I'll say I think that needs to be a standalone CIP. It's going to be far beyond the budget.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, the list that Brian showed a second ago is a street maintenance program list, right? So it's patches and things like that.
This is redoing
This is a reconstruct. I mean, it's a whole concrete road that's got an asphalt overlay on it that is, you can see it's pretty much lost its curb and gutter as far as drainage is concerned and that sort of thing because asphalt's been put into the curb and gutter. And so it just needs to be pulled out and replaced. And so that's going to be a total street reconstruct project, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And that'll be the type of project, Councilmember, that we will talk about during this CIP process that was discussed earlier.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions for staff? If there are no further questions, thank you, Mr. Creed. All right. What a great meeting. We cover everything I think we did. And some, all the way down to the mortar. For those at home, the mortar matters. Okay, all right. We will move into agenda item number 6. We are adjourned at 8:50. Thank you, all council.